Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobi Wine, President. Bannayuganda yabagamba nti gavumenti ya General Museveni egenda ggwa nga tewali n'ategedde, mujja kulabira awo nga tufunye president omujja nga bannayuganda bamaze okukikoonamu. Abangi balowooza nti nno byalwali, naye enkwata omuzannyo guno Kyagulanyi gyagukuttemu ddala gye tulaga tulabayo, era very soon gavumenti ya Museveni egenda kuba ng'efuuse lufumo. Waliwo omusango guli mu kkooti ya nsi yonna, ICC. Tulinawo banka y'ensi yonna gite World Bank yasazaamu okuddamu kukola General Museveni ensimbi. America nesazaamu kukola yayo ne General Museveni mu byensuubuligana, ne banywanyi ba America ne bakola ekintu kyekimu. Ezo nno ze zimu ku achievements omukulembeze Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobi Wine zatuuseeko, ne documentary yaffe Bobi Wine the People's President. Ate ebibuuzo bingi General Museveni bye yeebuuza kuba alaba gavumenti egenda naye talina ansa yabyo, ne bye yali asuubira nti ajja biyitamu okuttattana ekitiibwa kya Kyagulanyi n'okulemesa Kyagulanyi okumugya mu ntebe, byonna biganye. Kati General Museveni amaaso gamukanuse, yeebuuza akana n'akataano, naye yennyini yeeremereddwa, yeesobereddwa. Galese tulaba akatambi kano omanye nti ate amaanyi ga Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobi Wine amaanyi ge g'alina ga njawulo.
Of the day is uniting against injustice. So we're talking about injustice in Uganda. And as I said earlier on, this injustice is not by mistake. It is by default. It is by design. That is what the dictator has been doing over time. And it's not any wonder that now they absolutely do not care. Human rights are not respected. So, when you do something over and over again, it becomes a norm. So when Mohoz was called upon to give a report, to make a statement, he just came and this was, his statement was a travesty of justice. It was a mockery of the victims of the system. It was far from what we really were expecting. But again, is it anything isn't it what we were expecting? So we cannot expect any accountability from this regime, from the dictator, ladies and gentlemen. That is why we need to really mobilize. We need to get to the trenches and resume the mobilization that we had that brought us very, very close to taking power. So let's continue to mobilize, speak to our people, articulate the issues, and so that we can bring this to a closure. And how nice that would be, to have a Christmas in a free Uganda. It is not completely far-fetched. It is possible. We have the numbers. We have the unity was achieved as demonstrated by the various demonstrations, massive demonstrations that we saw. So I really think this lull is long overdue. We have to get back. But it's, again, this is not a question for leadership. It is a question for all of us. It is a question for you and me. So let's get engaging. But again, just to maybe talk about the human rights violations. This has been corroborated by different reports, including, among others, the State Department Country Report in Uganda 2022. It chronicles what exactly has been going on. We have the Human Rights Watch report. We have the International Amnesty report. So these gross violations, these gross rights violations are well documented. However, the West still continues to work with Museveni. So we need to bring pressure to bear on the different governments, that is through the elected members of parliament in our respective areas. I like what is happening in the UK, and we can use, for example, the documentary, the People's President, which is being launched in different cities. That is a very, very good tool of mobilization, to speak to the different governments that continue to work with Museveni. Museveni is a pariah who should be isolated. He has been killing his people for the 37 years, counting. So this is a man who should be sanctioned. This is a man actually who should be heading to the ICC. He should not be doing any business with any of these governments. But that is upon us. It is incumbent upon us to bring it to their attention. It is incumbent upon us to embarrass these governments, because appealing to them is not going to work, ladies and gentlemen. For them, I mean, they really care about their interests. So it is upon us to try to bring it to their attention. Please, I'm inviting hands, I'm inviting opinions, I'm inviting thoughts. Yeah, Museveni has not just started killing people now. This man has been killing people right from the 60s. But notable amongst the massacres that he has committed is the 1979 Mbarara Muslim bloodbath that was committed, in Mbarara. A number of Muslims were rounded up and killed. This is again, the main protagonist in all these killings is Museveni. Then we have 2021, we have the Luwero Triangle. Sorry, 81 to 85, we have the Luwero Triangle killings, whose numbers to date have not really been quantified, but it's around 500,000 people, who perished in Luwero. 1995, we have Atiak massacre, where about 300 people were killed. And this also included the Corner Clark massacres. We have 1998 Kichwamba massacres, where 80 students were killed, were torched up and killed. We have the 2009 Kayunga massacres. Again, the same person, it is the same person that we meet in all, in most of these massacres. We have the 2016, one of the gruesome massacres, that is Kasese massacre. We saw, I think you sometimes see the pictures, very, 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 horrible pictures that you see. And then we have the 2020 November massacres. Of course, this was the most recent, but let's not forget we still have the Karamoja massacres that are ongoing. So this man, ladies and gentlemen, should not be anywhere running free, it should not be anywhere presiding over any institution. He's a certified criminal, he's a certified murderer, and he should actually be in the ICC. But it is upon us to mobilize and get this man over to the ICC. Yes, Comrade James, please unmute and speak to us. Let me unmute you. Thank you. You're unmuted.
Yes, Joe, thank you for giving me a second opportunity. Joe, for me, like I said, I'm in the midst of campaigns in the United States of America, and I'm in a small state that every person wants. So it gives me an opportunity to meet almost all the presidential candidates. Joe, I'm giving an example that has impressed me with a 35-year-old young, I call him a 35-year-old young man wanting to lead the United States. And he's highly rated in the swing state where I am. Here is a young man who says we have to speak against the Republicans, our own party. We can't allow Trump to muzzle the United States with his wealth. He buys off everyone. I mean, look at that statement coming from within a party. To me, that impressed me. Actually, like I told you, I was somebody who was caucusing for Trump, but and I was doing it because in his inaugural speech, he had promised to deal with dictators of Africa. Now I get this young man whom I'm able to speak to, and I tell him about gold in Busia, and he listens. And I tell him about Africa. Actually, yesterday in a meeting, somebody says, they're talking about carbon pipes. You're not going to pass carbon pipes in Iowa. We're not going to allow, this is what they were saying, you're not going to turn us into Africa. That's how somebody put it. You are not going to turn us into Africa. And they didn't know I was in the crowd. So I raised up my hand. I'm like, I am here to raise up stakes for Africa and Uganda, where I come from. Yes, for us in Uganda, we are going to need what we call strategic partnership. And I'm here basically to tell you that I will caucus for somebody who listens to me. I will caucus for somebody who listens to Uganda. And I told him, I'm caucusing for you because you offer hope for young people. 35-year-old standing for the presidency is almost similar to Bobi Wine standing for the presidency, and we turn Bobi Wine into a tool for destroying young people. Look at America, they're not destroying this young man. And he comes up and stands against his own party. We are not going to allow the Republicans to send us a lame duck. That's what the boy says. And so it is interesting that he can say such and nobody's going to kill him and he will not. I mean, look at that. And this is what we want in Uganda. Joe, if you see what is happening in Uganda, go to parliament, see the elites. Joe, you are seeing the fight I'm having with the doctors, I'm having with my colleagues, because there was a doctor who said he was raising 500,000 Ugandan shillings online. And I'm like, as a doctor, how do you raise up 500,000 shillings online? Karamoja, where you are saying you have a young man a person who needs treatment, has 25 members of parliament, and you're a doctor in that place. You should be representing that child. I am a call away from money if I wanted the money for such. So why are you having those 25 members of parliament in Karamoja and you're a doctor there and you're not connecting with them? And I gave them an example, even the ADC, this person who carries files as Museveni walks, is a Karamojong. In the office of the Prime Minister, Dr. Lim Robert, who heads programs, whatever you call them, those programs for relief, is a Karamojong. And look at a doctor comes up to solicit for 500,000 Ugandan shillings, and now they are abusing me left and right. I'm like, this is in the United States. First of all, soliciting is not allowed. And one of the things they will ask you, are you going to the United States to solicit to get a visa? They ask you such a question: are you going to the United States to join prostitution? So Ugandans, we need to wake up. The elite population has even become the enemy of the ordinary people. Because did you see that Muhozi present in parliament? Did you see the chief justice, is it the assistant, whatever, some lawyer presenting on his NBS program saying the Chibalama we are talking about is the founder of NUP. So what is the founder of NUP? I mean, these are people who, a lawyer is educated by any standards. And look at how they present. So the elite in Uganda are a disgrace. Sorry to say that, but they're a disgrace. Because if we're talking about constitutionalism, it is the elite to interpret the constitution to the younger people. That's why this person is able to come. I mean, the American president can come. Here is a copy of the constitution. If you can spot anywhere where I have abused the American constitution, because it's what we're supposed to guarantee, don't vote me. And there's nobody who is able to raise up a hand in the crowd. So this kind of things are things we're talking about, and it hurts to see that we have an educated population which has gone to slumber. And that's why we're having Museveni. I mean, right now, they're comparing us with the cows. He speaks to cows more closer than us, the educated. Joe, I submit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That is really, that is concerning. And why all this happens is because there's been this corrosion of institutions. So we have this catastrophic collapse of institutions. Nothing is functioning. No one is held accountable. That is why they come and do what they want to do. But I agree with you. Vivek is a very smart guy, and he can offer himself because he's beyond reproach. And those are the qualities that we're looking for in leadership. And in contrast, in Uganda, people who want to people who purport to offer service are those who are the most corrupt. The more corruptible, the more you are admired and the more you are applauded. This is very, very, very sad, and that is the culture that we are carrying on. So people like Muhozi, they just come on as spin doctors, not an accountable minister who has been called on really to answer for the missing 18 for those others who have disappeared. Yes, Comrade Godfrey, let's hear from you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Joe. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much. I thank everyone on this platform today. I thank our SG in particular for giving us time. I also thank the former submissions from Mimi and Dr. James. I feel his pain. I like Mimi's idea of educating our foot soldiers, but most of our foot soldiers don't come on platforms like this, and they tend to be on things like TikTok. And as I wrote in a reply, is that if we can have a channel or on TikTok from NOP for that particular purpose of education and interpreting the Constitution to ordinary people. If we could have, say, 3 people in a sitting or 4 from each region, and they can interpret it for their local population, even on a daily basis or a weekly basis, with a bit of entertainment, as our elected president does it in his music. And I think that would do a great deal of work and achieve what we want. But apart from lamenting, Dorcas should mention the good news we've had this week. Among the bad news which floats around is we had our first family in the UK, and it was great. Regardless of the coldness of the weather, we certainly enjoyed seeing for the first time our elected leader. And we thank everyone who put in a great work, including Dorcas. I wish she can mention it and put more in. We appreciate. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sorry, Joe. Yes, Brother Godfrey, you mentioned it. Thank you so much. Of course, we received President. For all those that are wondering, Museveni is not our president. The president we refer to is His Excellence Mr. Kyagulanyi Robert Sentamu. He's with us here in the UK. And actually, if you're able to make way on Sunday, try and go meet him if you're in the UK. We will share details of where you can meet or see President, just confirming the details. Yes, Joe, please carry on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade. Yes, Comrade Ika, you make a very good point. We need to identify platforms that appeal to our young people, and TikTok is clearly one of them. And I really think here we could have a mix of bloggers, we could have a mix of musicians, for example, Bill of Rights or Chapter 4, that, they could just, highlight some of the key key information there that should really reach the people. And I believe that could be a very good way of engaging with the young people, since that is their platform of choice. I really think we need to work on that initiative together with other stakeholders, musicians among others, and bloggers to engage the young people. That is, and of course, Enovus Enovus on call is very welcome to do that translation first of all. Then you can avail it to us, and then we can put it out. That is, you translate some of these. For example, Chapter 4, Chapter 4, Chapter 1, Chapter 3. Those are very, very, very important. You just take out some key elements and translate it into vernacular. Then we can put it out, and musicians could maybe come up, with some creative way of presenting it, a way that appeals to the young people. That is a good one, Godfrey. Stella's iPhone, please. Unmuted, speak to us. Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
It is breaking a bit. Yes,
Is
please.
Is it still breaking?
Sounds much better now.
Right. So I wasn't going to speak until I listened to James, I think Dr. James, talking about elite people. And I think I also want to tag onto the call strategizing around including foot soldiers who need things like TikTok and translation. As an elite person, I think that as the opposition or people interested in the liberation struggle, whether you're NUP or FDC or whichever other party, we have complained and mourned for a long time about the elite people being a problem. Now, I think while it's important to reach down, it's also important to reach up. Because things like translation, things like teaching, things like challenging Muhoozi, who read in Parliament, are going to be done by the elite as well as the foot soldiers. And I think for me, that part of the strategy we have not done well enough is to reach out to elite, so-called elite people, whatever this means, because there are a number who are not pro-NRM, but are the silent majority who are not working with us. They will not work with us because they feel they have no use for us. And I think that in terms of strategizing, in terms of organizing things that are done online, Zoom meetings, leadership institutes, training institutes, that we can also still open up to possibilities of being more inclusive of elite people, whether it is educated people, people who are moneyed, people who are well connected, because we need them as well for the sort of struggle we are going to have to undertake. And I think for me, when Museveni is out of power, the people who we will have to work with to rebuild Uganda are elite people. And yes, elite people are a pain. Yes, the elite have been the majority or the minority in terms of responding to calls for the liberation struggle, but the elite people want to participate if we make the struggle relevant for them. They are as hungry as we are. Maybe they don't have proper...
Sorry, Stella, we lost you there. Okay. We've lost Stella. Yeah, but clearly she makes a very, very good point. The elite, we've really tried, but you know,
sorry, Joe, my mic was muted. I was saying Dr. Stella's mic got muted. I don't know why the mics are muted. Dr. Stella, are you able to have your video, or it's not safe for you?
No, I'm cleaning my house, so you know.
Okay, we understand. It's good to have you here. Comrades, I hope you all know who Dr. Stella is. Yes, please carry on with your submission. Apologies for the interruption.
Right, so maybe I was muted because, like I said, it's heavily snowing in Munich, whatever that means and what the implications are for the internet. But I was saying that we must make our struggle relevant for the elite people, because in terms of post-Museveni governance, we're going to need the elite to think with us and for us. And they are going to be the people working with the government in power. And so I think in terms of strategizing around things like leadership institutes and planning, while we do things like TikTok to reach down and WhatsApp maybe to reach the middle, we also need to reach upwards towards these people we say are not involved. And so I would continue fighting. If I were Dr. James, I would continue fighting with the doctors and making the struggle relevant for them. I would continue fighting with the military elite like David Muhoozi and saying to them, we need you. I would continue fighting with whichever elite person we feel, or groupings we feel, are aloof and not involved, and especially those who are working with the regime, because we know that when things change, they switch positions very, very quickly. And so while we are reaching down, we should also reach up. Thank you very much. And thanks for organizing the institutes.
Thank you, Stella. That is a good point, and I agree with you. And as a matter of fact, we've been trying very, very hard to reach, the elite, but it has been flogging a dead horse, as it were. But that doesn't mean we stop there. We keep trying, and maybe working creatively, we continue engaging them. It has been a very elusive group. Some of them, I think, they have this perception that it can be morally neutral or politically neutral, which does not make sense, because as we've seen time and again, even those who thought they were part of the system, it was none of their business, they've been affected one way or another. So yes, I agree with you. I think we continue to engage and come up with new strategies. We need them, and they need us. So yeah, so there's that symbiotic kind of. Yes, Dorcas, would you like to come in?
Yes, I just sort of wanted to say that I think Dr. James had a message for Dr. Stella. Sorry, Comrade Tamale, you come in next. Yes, Dr. James.
I think, Dorcas, one thing I just wanted to say thank you to Stella. Once in a while, we have interacted, me and Stella, we have met on walls and spoken. And it's good to have Stella on this wall, because this wall is usually avoided by so many people. So I think Stella just comes in to show an example that the elites can come. And that mentioned, Joe, you remember recently we fundraised for a doctor who needs kidney transplant. And one of the messages, we even followed them up to their home. And at that time, we were emphasizing to the doctor that you people, much as we are fundraising for you, we need to overhaul the system. And as we were fundraising, the doctors were point blank, they told us, don't bring us politics here. But you guys, you can't treat a doctor. You can't treat a doctor. The man, right now, he's stranded in Kenya. Well, I think you remember even when I made a comment that the most painful thing is a girl in the Middle East contributing 100,000 Ugandan shillings for a doctor. And when these young girls in the Middle East are crying, there's no single Ugandan doctor standing by them. But when we were fundraising for the doctor who needs a kidney transplant, the money from that girl from the Middle East, she's Grace. She's always with us here. Grace gave 100,000. I'm like, it's like that money from the Chisibiro, from a woman who went to a church. So the elite, I think it's the wrong word to use, but there's a population that we need, because now America, I'm talking about America, that a presidential candidate presents a constitution. So you'd want to see that the Ugandan population that has gone to school should be able to ask the constitution and challenge Museveni or any other person that this article. And so look at parliament. For me, I'm fighting in Busia, my own members of parliament. We're like, how did we elect this one? They can't see. They are saying this noop. I said, we are talking about a Ugandan. If we are talking about Chivalama abducted, we're talking about a Ugandan. We're not talking about a noop person. But I just wanted to applaud Stella for coming to this wall. It's a wall for ordinary people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Mgeni. And this brings us back again to really the Constitution and constitutionalism. This is civic duty. This is part of our patriotic kind of duty, really, to answer to the call, to what is going on, the abuse of human rights, the lack of rule of law, or the erosion of rule of law. So everybody should be concerned and everybody should be responding. But sadly, I think there is this sense of civic ignorance and apathy that has tended to grip the country. And most of these people want to play safe. They want to protect their jobs. They want to protect their relationship with the dictator. Now, that is the problem. I really think, again, who do you owe allegiance? Is it the Constitution or is it Museveni? I think that is a very, very fundamental question that we have to keep asking. Yes, so we shall take that question back to the so-called elite. They really need to you know, I think that is crunch time when they must answer that. Yes. Yes. Comrade Tamale, over to you. Please unmute and speak to us. Thank you. Tamale, you're unmuted. Please unmute. I'm trying to unmute you. For some reason, I'm not able to. As I unmute, Comrade Tamale, please. We have a petition that is going. As there is a petition that we would like you to sign. Please sign that petition. It's part of our fight to demand for our missing comrades. Yes, Comrade Tamale, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to each and every one of you, comrades. First and foremost, I first salute and thank my sister Mimi for coming up with the training issue. I'm a foot soldier. I know who we are in this struggle. Many of us, we don't have any single knowledge about our laws in the country, our constitution. We know nothing about it. And we have failed to do lots and lots of things because we don't know our rights. We don't know what the constitution is made up of. We need trainings. They used to train us some year ago, but they stopped it. I don't know why they did stop training us, but we had at least started learning something. And whenever one learned something, he would teach like 4 or 5 or 10 people in his group, because for us, we have groups, you know. So it was so good and great when Sister Mimi gave it directly to our SG. We need the trainings. That's one of my issues I have to bring into you guys, because we need your support. Whenever something is talked about by you guys, it is easily done by our seniors. Secondly, the elites, are they called elite or elites? The elites in Uganda are just caring about.
Carry on, Mr. Tamale. You're just asking about how it's pronounced. It's pronounced elite. Carry on, please. Thank you. Mr. Tamale. Okay, we have.
He could be muted. Could you unmute him?
It's okay. Well, no, he's muted. He's muted. I think he probably is having connection problems. Okay, as we wait for Mr. Tamale to sort himself out, Godfrey, please come in. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, we're drawing to a close. We shall be shutting down in the next 8 minutes. So yes, Comrade Godfrey, over to you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Joe. In reply to Dr. Stella and the rest, the problem of the elites, I mean, the word elite means that your level of education is above the rest and the level of understanding. And it doesn't really require an education to know what's going wrong in Uganda. And as of the Constitution, it's been mentioned more. If people mention the Constitution, they quote chapter after chapter. Now, I would assume the elites should also have knowledge of this. But if they are not interested because they are living okay, we should not have a situation where we have to beg the elites to join the struggle. Circumstances will force them. We are the same in the eyes of the Constitution, and it gives us power to protect everyone duty to defend and protect the Constitution, not to be begged to defend and protect the Constitution. If they waiting to be begged or for us to create conditions for them to join us, we can't do that, but the situation will force them to join us. Because no one forced us to join the struggle. The conditions forced us. If you go kids, young children, you'd want them to live in a better Uganda, regardless of whether you are capable of looking after them now, but we want a free Uganda where everyone fulfills his or her potential. And this can only be done when we defend and protect the Constitution and we shout out, but not have self-interests. As another thing I wanted to suggest briefly is when we, from the experiences we've had, when the next time we try to get people to stand for elective positions, people should do, as a minimum, know 50% of the Constitution. They don't have to mention it word per word, but they should have an idea, because when they reach these positions, they go quiet, and when they should be, we shouldn't be begging them to mention the Constitution or work on the Constitution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry, I was just trying to pin the petition. Apologies for that. Yes, that is a very good point. As a matter of fact, if that could be a part requirement for leadership, if your ability to at least mention some key aspects of the Constitution, it means you're offering yourself for leadership, but you're also ready for leadership. So there is sometimes people just getting excited and coming when they really don't have the qualities for leadership, So I think knowing the Constitution and being able to defend it, because how do you defend what you do not know? I think that would be a very, very good requirement as part of your leadership, requirement or candidature requirement. That's a very good point. Yes, Stella is back. Sorry, before I think let's allow Captain David Ginger, and then we shall finally take Stella. Captain David, I unmute you. Please speak to us. We're drawing to a close, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Captain David, please speak to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, comrades, for organizing this. I'm constantly reminded that out of the mountain of despair, a stone of hope for our revolution continues. Our desperation to win, to change, to continue to struggle, help us not only to minimize our potential to do good, but also to do the very best we can do. My prayer and jubilation and consensus to all of us is, let us lift where we stand. Let us put our shoulders to the wheel. Let us continue not to live in lamentation, but to do the very best we can in our own God-given potential. With that, I believe I have a beacon of hope and faith that we shall win the noble cause that has united us for so many years, that continues to unite us. Every one of us, in our own small or big measure, we can add a dent, we can add a brick by brick, and before you know it, the tower will start tumbling down before our eyes. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, comrades. La ruta continua.
Thank you, comrade, for that. Yeah, we rally everybody to rise up. And just like I said, don't leave this to leadership. Don't leave this to the elected leaders. This is a civic duty. This is a patriotic duty. It is your duty and mine. We must all continue to work together. We must continue to mobilize in order to achieve our goals. So thank you very much for those very revolutionary words. Yes, as I said, we're drawing to a close. Yes, okay, Comrade Stella, 1 minute, and then we allow Ellen Prezo to wrap it up. Yes, over to you, Comrade Stella, 1 minute. Thank you. Trying to unmute you.
Okay,
yes,
I'm now unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, Stella. Thank you.
Just 50 seconds. Again, as a response, we cannot afford as organizers to say we shall not beg this group of people to join us. Yes, the elite are educated. Yes, the elite have money. But the Constitution is a foreign entity to very many elite people. We cannot defend Uganda based on ignorance. The non-involvement of some of these people is because they don't know. And all I'm saying is, when we mobilize as organizers of the liberation, we cannot risk saying, we shall not beg them to come and study. We shall not beg them to come and learn. We shall not beg them to come and empower themselves. Some of their aloofness, when people say, don't bring politics into our medical fraternity, sometimes it's because they think politics is removed from the Constitution and the medical profession, and that shows ignorance of civic education, civic knowledge. And what I'm saying is, when we organize, we should be able to open up our organizing to all different players, including those who seem aloof, and they may be aloof because we haven't made what we're doing relevant to them. And I'm just responding to the person who responded to me. Thank you very much for organizing, and have a good December.
Thank you, Dr. Stella. You're spot on, and I agree with you 100%. It's about inclusivity, and in some of these cases they border on ignorance. So it is up to us to take our cause to the people and convert them and teach them and educate them. So I agree with you 100%, Doctor. Yes, Ellen Prezo. Oh yes, we have Ellen Prezo. Over to you, please. You're unmuted.
Yeah, thank you very much, Joe and everyone. Am I loud and clear?
Yes, you are, comrade. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for your submission and your participation in this space. I thank you, Dr. Stella, for the work that you do and the good advice that you always extend to the comrades. So keep doing what you're doing. Like what everyone has said, we may not really must and read everything within the Constitution, but what we must understand is that we have inherent rights that are sacrosanct, that can only be guaranteed by the Constitution. And anything outside that, the things that we're fighting for a better Uganda, to get a government that rule by law, okay? Constitutionalism. Because in the 1995, Ugandans agreed and drafted the Constitution in the preamble, basing on the history, the dark history of what has happened in the past. So what I'm seeing in Uganda is that people want to have that change, but they're not yet in need of change. That's why sometimes we engage in things that are going to really distract us and divide us, and we forget the ultimate goal of our oppressor and a group that has oppressed Uganda for the last 30 or 40 years. So we must really, agreeing to disagree is okay, but your disagreement in whichever sect that you're in must not be aiming at derailing the revolution, because all the sides in the opposition, all the forces that are aiming to cause that change in Uganda should really can have disagreements, but we must at all times not forget about the ultimate goal. Our main opponent, our main enemy is Museveni and Musevenism, not because of where he comes from, not because of the language he speaks, but his failure to govern Uganda and making sure that he loots every resources, our resources that should have benefited everyone. That's why we work day and night to ensure that all the Ugandans benefit, irrespective of their religious, racial, tribes, and other races. We all benefit from the natural resources that we have, from our national wealth that we have. So people may not really understand the whole and all the articles and everything within the Constitution. And there's a reason as why the regime has not translated that Constitution, that legal document, in various dialects within Uganda. That is done deliberately and purposely to keep people ignorant, because from that ignorance within the society, they thrive and they maintain their grip on power. So my appeal to all of us, we shouldn't keep on fighting each other. We need every Ugandan to be part and playing a role in liberating our Uganda. But before we liberate a country, you must liberate your mind. And anything that is diversionary or of any kind that's not aiming at advancing the struggle, that is just for containment, not to add anything onto that struggle. So we can agree to disagree, but let's not lose our focus. May God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Comrade Ellen Prisol. Yeah, our contestation of ideas is okay. Our discussions are meant to, intellectual debates, discussions are welcome, definitely. But of course, again, I think what Ellen Prisol means is avoiding those very destructive fights that derail us from our main goal. I really think that is we need to kind of keep away from that. Yes, please, I've put out the petition in the chat room. Get it and sign it. If you miss it for some reason, when you come across it, please sign it. But I think there is time to do that. Yes, finally, let's listen to our comrade Kadilo Kato. Please, over to you. We've overrun our time. Kadilo Kato is going to be our last speaker. Mr. Kato, you are unmuted. Thank you.
Yeah, Joe, thank you so much for giving me this last minute. I just want to say I've listened, and one of the things about the elite, and I want to say that the elite are very arrogant people. I have friends who live in London here who are very, very, for them, dining and having wine with the regime people is more important. They know what is happening, and these are people back home where I come together with them. The roads are as bad as anything. These are the people where the hospitals are as bad as, we don't have the so-called referral hospital, the only one in West Nile. That's where my mom went and died from. And these are the people. And I can't just get it. But, I'm a Christian, many of you might know. But there was a portion in the Bible where Esther, during Esther's time, and the king decreed that nobody is supposed to see him, but it was forced so that there was a scheme to kill the Jews. That was period. So Esther was a Jew, but in disguise. They didn't know that she was a Jew, but she was one of the beautiful girls. And then his uncle knew about the plan, then sent a message to her, say, go and meet the king and say this plan. And she hesitated. And then the reply that he gave Esther, he said, don't think when liberation will come or destruction will come, you being in that comfort, you will survive it. The destruction will kill us, all of us. And these elite people really don't know. You see, yes, they have the cars, but the cars are getting stuck. The cars get accidents. There are people, they cannot go to the hospitals in Uganda. They have to fly here. Even the elite who are here in the UK and abroad who pretend, why are their children here? Why can't they go and study in Uganda? It is a matter of it's not a brainer. And the selfishness and the arrogance and the blind mind to not recognize we're making our children study, but the poor are not studying. We think we are safe. They will be the ones to attack our children. So this Ugandan thing, and one of the things that I liked what I want to say, I was so proud for, some people don't like Bobi Wine, His Excellency, but he's one of the true honest person I've come to meet. He told the packed audience at this cinema on Thursday, he said, help us to help you, not to inconvenience you by coming by boats into this country, by stopping to work with dictators, by stopping to probe monsters. And that message sent a chill on the spines of the British people. And I'm so happy that he just got access to the parliament just like that. And he has been meeting parliamentaries. A man who is thinking about Ugandans, the suffering people. A man who is thinking about, he's not self-centered. And one point they asked him about the documentary. He said, we are not the heroes. The heroes are these ones who paid the ultimate death. That is humility. And to me, I looked forward, I looked to work, I looked to see a leader like that to lead us. Whether he's not educated or not, people say, but there's something that he sends, and it just lights like that, ignites you. And so I just want to say, those elite, we are all going to suffer with them. Their cars will all go, one day their cars will even break and they will even get accident. It's not a safe thing. If the roads are bad, you're going to die, full stop. If the hospitals are bad, your children will die. So thank you. I beg to submit.
Thank you very much. You're right. No one is safe. Directly or indirectly, we shall be victims one way or another. Let this really be our last speaker, Samuel Kalule Sendoza. Please, you have 2 minutes to make your submission. Thank you, because we've overrun our time. Yes, I'm admitting you. Please speak to us. Thank you. Yes.
Oh, thank you so much, comrades, and I want to appreciate this team for organizing this talk. There is a professor in South Africa called Jonathan. He wrote a small book called We Need to Talk. And has been listening, I think we need to talk more. But we need also to listen to each other. There is a problem of blaming somebody, blaming this and blaming this. It's high time for us to come and have a talk, a serious talk, but listen to each other. These things of arguing about elites, and it's high time to engage each other. We need one another. Let us stop that blame game. I'm sorry to, we are wasting so much time. Ugandans need to be liberated, and everybody's contribution is needed. So please, I don't want to go further, but please, it's high time for us to sit down and talk and have a serious, really serious talk, but also listen to each advices and take it and wait and see which will work for us. But we need each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you, comrade. Thank you for those remarks. Yes, it is as clear as it sounds, so I don't need to, yes. So ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of today's online protest. Let me thank all of you who have contributed to today's discussion, those who have attended. Again, we continue to mobilize as we've noted and as we've discussed. There is a lack of constitutionalism in our country, and we cannot continue to operate, in a lawless country. So there is a sense of urgency, therefore, to really talk, as Samuel just said, to listen to one another, talk, but also listen and get things moving and get things done. So yes, there is a petition out there. Please try and sign that petition and share it. And we want to get in as many signatures in the shortest time possible so that we can bring pressure to bear on this murderous regime that avoids to take accountability. So with that said, I roll the mic back to Comrade Dorcas. Over to you, Dorcas. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Joe. And of course, we thank our SG for making time to be with us. For those that have just joined or joined in later, you will catch him on Facebook because these sessions are recorded anyway, and we'll try and cut out the message and circulate it so you catch up on what you missed. Just remind you, this is an online protest, so there is tweets. It's not just a meeting, we have a protest going on. There is tweets. We know COP28 will be the leaders meeting or discussing the climate crisis challenges. So let us send messages to those leaders, telling them that Museveni is killing Ugandans now, and they should step in. The human rights situation is terrible in Uganda. Sorry, I'm a bit, yes, and there's so many tweets. The UK, we've put out a message. I'm trying to open the Twitter so that we can share the screen. The UK, we have to tell UK to stop funding dictator Museveni because the funds, we do not benefit from the funds. They've given over £1 billion, for the whole of last year, because every year they give about £1 billion in aid. That money does not benefit any Ugandan. If anything, starting from the infrastructure, the roads, you can all see. Yeah, I don't think he's improved anything in the nation. So not only the UK, but we're concentrating on the UK this week. So let's write to all these people, but go to COP28. There should be a message, and amplify sound. That's the word. Yes, comrades, we are drawing to a close. We thank Comrade David Chirabira and all of you, the speakers. We thank you. Sorry, I seem to have lost my, I was trying to get the Twitter open. I couldn't, but please put links in the chat, touch on those, and yes, let's close. Comrades, thank you so much.
Okay, byebyo ndowooza mubiwulidde bulungi, ensonga zituuse, buli kimu kyogeddwako kikoneddwako ku lw'obulungi bw'eggwanga lyaffe Uganda. Ate tukimanye nti ffe tuvunaanyizibwa, gwe nange teriyo mulala avunaanyizibwa ku ky'okutereeza ensi eno. Ffe tulina okugyetereereza nga tuteekamu amaanyi gaffe, obudde bwaffe, ensimbi zaffe, buli kimu kyaffe, okulaba nga tukola ensi ennungi abaana baffe mubaleeyagalira, naffe ffennyini ne bantu baawo mubaleeyagalira. Naye nga tulina okuba nga ffe tutandika kino, tulina okuba nga ffe tukola kino, ate nga tujja kikola Mukama mubeezi waffe. Kale mbaagala nnyo, Omukama Katonda nsaba bankuumire, tujja kuba tuddamu tubigambo ebigambo. Mweraba.